Good morning, lovelies. I have an idea where this video will go, but I don't completely know. This is something that I am unpacking for myself and allowing to come through in a new light. And I wanted to express that to see if anyone else is resonating with the same conversation, either with your loved ones or with yourself. So I've been thinking about authenticity and going to the roots of what that word means for me personally, and making sure or re-establishing why I would want to lean in or guide my journey towards a higher expression of authenticity. And what does that look like? What does that look like on a daily feel? What does that look like in my relationships, in my lifestyle, in my health, in my well-being? And what I have thought about is authenticity being a full expression of self. But what does that mean for the parts of us that are still unconscious? So what does that mean for the belief structures that are changing? What does that mean for the parts of ourselves that we haven't met yet? What about the difficult parts of ourselves that still have resistance? Are we to honor all of that, or are we forever changing on the road to authenticity? The reflections that I get from the people around me are always helping me to update what my relationship to myself means. And sometimes those that we love the most are the best reflectors for these things, because there's so much in our veils of ego and through our veils of conditioning that we can't access properly. Now, if you're blessed enough to have beautiful, supportive beings around you that are brave and courageous enough to call you out at the times when you're not being authentic, then even though that can be uncomfortable, that is an amazing support base to have. Otherwise, I've also found this reflection very beneficial through healers that I greatly respect. And the reason that I valued that time with those healers so much is because I can unpack something without knowing exactly where I stand, without having the right language yet. I can be extremely vulnerable and find where that discomfort is trying to take me in someone's supportive arms and in their professional capacity. But otherwise, what that looks like when we do that with friends and family is we're often calling out something that doesn't look or feel like their truest self, or look or feel like what we register in their heart space. So this can show up as masks. This can show up as how we mimic and copy those around us for the sake of giving ourselves time to really understand something. This can be our shadow pushing forward to illuminate the parts of us that are still unconscious. And when we get that reflection back, there doesn't need to be a threat to the identity. When there is a threat to the identity, we then take things personally, as if we are under personal attack. But in my experience, that threat to the identity is the part that is most distracting. So when we are looking towards authenticity, when we are seeking that for ourselves, what we are seeking is an expression of ourselves that is in alignment with our higher self, our mental and emotional planes, our physical body, and all the way through every energy center in our being. Now, this is not something that is beyond our reach. A lot of people believe that this is something like perfectionism or being the best self that we could ever be. It's more about owning the parts of us that are in conscious awareness, accepting and loving those parts, and recalibrating and integrating constantly to be as close to our heart's expression as we can in all realms of our life. Now, this means that comparison of the way we live our authentic life, or the way I live my authentic life, compared to someone else, is not going to bring me closer to my authenticity. If anything, it's going to drag me away. My own authentic expression is really a discovery of all of those parts of myself, and how to find a way or many ways to express that, to voice that, to have my physical being, my values and my belief structures in alignment with that. And this really looks like owning every part of ourselves that is accessible to us. We can't go and reach for the parts that are not in conscious awareness yet. We have to let this process be a revealing. We are finding our authenticity as much as we are embracing it. We are refining that expression all the time. And when we find something out of alignment or inauthentic, we can then pull it in for introspection. We can brainstorm and workshop around it with curiosity and start asking our questions. Well, how does that little part of me or that part of my life now become part of the whole, so that we are all singing the same tune, that we are all vibrating at the same frequency, that we are all coming into a place of center. And what that should feel like is a calming of the nervous system, so that we are not negotiating or fighting or having lengthy debates with ourselves about something that's inauthentic. Whether that's an action, whether that's a choice, whether that's a person, whether that's a thought, any part of that causes that dis-ease in us.